Ilya, thank you so much for being here. I wanted to talk to you after reading this. I knew what you had been through. But just start by saying why the effort to cancel you. It was in relation to a poorly phrased tweet about there being better candidates for the Supreme Court position than the woman. Correct. Go ahead, Ilya.
It was even before Judge Jackson was picked. The day that news of Justice Breyer's retirement leaked, I'd been doing media all day. This is my job. I was at the Cato Institute, where I was vice president and ran their Constitutional Studies Center. And so late at night, I was in my hotel room. I was traveling, never travel and doom scroll late at night in your hotel room. And I was getting upset by President Biden's limiting of his criteria for his pool of candidates for the Supreme Court by race and gender. And so I had a poorly phrased tweet. It's written up in the Wall Street Journal op-ed, and that provoked a firestorm. I woke up the next morning and all hell had broken loose, and I was put on leave from the job that I was about to start at Georgetown University, and I'm still on paid leave while they investigate whether that tweet, whether my commentary violated their policies. And so fast forward, I've been doing events. I'm still speaking out about my expertise in constitutional law and the Supreme Court. And at this one event that I wrote about in the Journal at UC Hastings in San Francisco, the students came in and they shut it down. They were screaming and banging and yelling, and I couldn't talk at all for the entire hour.
They were screaming obscenities at you and physically confronting you. And these were law school students?
That's right. We used to think that these sorts of things were confined to undergraduate campuses, but yeah, it's spreading to law schools. There was another incident at Yale Law School the week after mine. It's a real plague that's spreading across our country, and in the law schools, if you can imagine, they're the future lawyers and judges and serious professionals. And they can't deal with opposing views that offend them.
Well, and you write in the Wall Street Journal that at UC Hastings, University of California Hastings College of Law, as you said, it was in San Francisco. That's a public institution. So shutting down speech would be a violation of the First Amendment.
Right. If the administration acted to select or deselect or uninvite or invite speakers based on their viewpoint, that would be a First Amendment violation. And in fact, one of the administrators during my event stepped in at one point and told the protesters that they were violating school rules, school policies. But the protesters kept doing what they were doing, and there was the administrators didn't do anything then. They haven't done anything since. And to be clear, this is not about silent protest. It's not about asking difficult questions, turning your back, any of that sort of thing. This is about shutting down an event in a space that had been reserved for this type of event. And it violates policies that I think every law school has policies to the same effect, but it seems like administrators aren't willing to enforce them.
No, it's intolerance in the name of tolerance. These are budding despots and tyrants, if you will. But in response to what happened at Yale, it was a conversation between two people who actually agreed on the issue of free speech. It was a progressive and a conservative agreeing on the issue of free speech. It was held by the Federalist Society, and you mentioned it, and you brought it up in your piece in the Journal. But I will note that Judge Lawrence Silberman of the Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit wrote a letter to all of his fellow Article III judges and said, you need to really look at hiring anybody who was involved in shutting down this discussion. And do you think, Ilya, we will see more of this?
I don't know. I mean, it's up to different employers to make decisions on that. It's up to law schools and administrators to decide what kind of students to admit. This is a wider phenomenon that I think is only growing. And, I have thick skin. I can take it. Being paid not to speak, as it were, it's nice work if you can get it. But this is not a good indicator for the state of discourse in our country. And as you said, at Yale, it was someone from the right and someone from the left coming together to agree on the principles that underlie our country. Freedom of speech, being able to debate ideas, whatever they are. And if law students at the most elite schools aren't comfortable with that, I mean, we have, bigger problems than whether I can talk about my historical perspective on Supreme Court nominations.
Words don't hurt, but censorship does, particularly a free republic. Ilya, I'll give you final word on this. Just keep fighting.
Well,
because again, my takeaway was that you're not allowed to make a mistake in this country. That's what the left wants.
That's a separate discussion about grace and all of that. But I'm talking to you from Princeton, New Jersey, my alma mater, my undergraduate alma mater at Princeton, where I'm about to do an event on cancel culture and mob rule, which people can watch on a live stream. You can search on Twitter for the Twitter information, the Zoom information, but it's going to be streamed. It's going to be a discussion of different perspectives on campus, the state of campus discourse today.
Bring on the speech. The free speech. Ilya, thank you so much for being here. Terrific article. I will retweet it to make sure everybody reads it. Ilya Shapiro. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.